Now,
Yeah, sir.
a subsidiary is a legal entity. Okay.
Mhm.
A legal entity wherein, let us say if you have a business, right? So your business is in different states. One of your branches could be in your California, one of it could be in Washington, and the other one could be in Pennsylvania, so on and so forth, right? So the parent is actually the name of the entity, enterprise, okay, the whole structure. So your metropolis, let us say metropolis is the name of your company, right? And your metropolis is there in California. So don't go by this naming convention that you see on the sandbox here. Now, since this is a sandbox, it is they've created as Australia, Canada, United Kingdom. So usually this is not how it goes, right? The parent company would be the name of the organization, and then the child subsidiaries would be like this: Metropolis California, Metropolis Washington DC, Metropolis North, or North Carolina. So all these would be listed down like this in the organization, in your subsidiary structure. So now assume that for this month, right, my North Carolina has done a $1 million business, and Washington DC entity has done a $2 million business. Likewise, $3 million for the California entity. So all this will roll up to the Metropolis parent company, which in turn would do a $6 million reporting, right? So everything will add up to the parent company, and that is the reason you have this structure. Okay. Now, this is one way of dealing with this. And see, your Metropolis Washington could be a parent subsidiary as well, right? So whatever you've done for California will roll up to this parent, and whatever you're doing for North Carolina will actually roll up to the Washington DC as a subsidiary, right? Any questions on that? Now, did you understand the difference between the parent and the child subsidiaries, why we are actually rolling it up? So that whatever business which is done on the child subsidiaries will actually roll up to the parent subsidiary directly. Okay.
Yeah, okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Got it? So is the explanation clear? So a subsidiary is a legal entity wherein you can actually call them as, in a normal terminology, maybe a branch that is there in a different city or in a different state or in a different country, right? And you can define your parent subsidiaries. That is actually, this enterprise structure is actually provided by the client. You don't have to worry about it. They would tell you what is their parent company, what are the child subsidiaries, and what is the subchild. All these things, they would let you know how exactly this needs to be created. Okay.
Okay, sir. So all the child companies are automatically connected to the parent company, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, sir. Yeah, I got it.
All the child companies are connected to the parent. So if you view the child subsidiaries, you would see that there is a parent company as a parent subsidiary. You see this? Okay. Usually don't go by this parent company nomenclature. Usually this will be the enterprise structure name. Okay.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give me.
So whenever we are creating a subsidiary, so every time we need to connect that to the parent company because it's asking us, right? Whenever we create a subsidiary.
No. See, it is not mandatory that you link a parent company. You can have your company as normal. I mean, see, when you are dealing with your, this is called as financials first account. Okay. So whenever you have a one world account, this is called a one world account, wherein they pay for certain parent companies. Okay. So the parent company in this structure is only one. That is the reason you have just one parent company and then child subsidiaries under it. So if they pay for two parent companies, then you will be able to create two parent companies, and under that you can create the child subsidiaries.
Okay, you are telling multiple parents and multiple child companies.
Exactly. And that is only possible when actually customer pays for it, right? This is a paid structure.
So how do we know that this one
That
is
is a part
not
of your no, that's a part of your implementation, right? When initially when you start off your implementation procedure, there is a statement of work. So in the statement of work, it will be listed how many parent companies should be there, how many child companies should be there. This is all given by the customer and the sales team to the implementation consultants.
Okay. So if they take the one word, does this look the same as it look the dashboard look the same? If they take
Absolutely, everything would look the same.
but we can add multiple parents, multiple children. That is the only
Exactly. Correct.
extra benefit.
Okay.
I'm good with
So
this.
you wanted to understand what is a class, right?
Yeah, sir.
Okay. So class is nothing but it is a classification of your items. Okay. So what does that mean? Now you have your laptop, you have keyboard, right? And then you have extended monitor. Okay. So these are all broadly classified as IT equipment, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then, let us say you have chairs and tables. Now this is broadly classified as furniture, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right? And then you have tower cranes, JCBs, right? Vehicles, cars, let us say bikes. Now, all these are classified as your vehicles, correct?
Yes,
So
sir.
this IT, furniture, vehicles, all these are nothing but your classes. You are trying to broadly classify your items that you have within the system. Simple as that. That is what is your item. Okay.
So when we fill the purchase order or sales order, so in the classes, what do we select? What do we select when we
It depends on
look?
what is the business giving you as the classes. Your client would actually give you what is your class, right? For each item, you can select a class, and that classes are provided by your client. So you will create those classes, and the same classes you will select on the items.
Okay. Yeah,
Got that, right?
sir.
So likewise,
Yeah, got it.
what are your departments? You have your IT department, you have your accounting department, you have your HR department, correct?
Yeah,
So all these are
sales
departments.
Yeah, department.
Okay. So what is locations? Locations are nothing but your physical warehouses.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In each city, you might have a warehouse, and you can create a location and then say that this will be your physical warehouse and that will be your location. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So that is your broader classification of subsidiary, division, location, and class. Okay.
Yeah,
Any
got
questions
it.
on that?
No, sir. And the service item I told you, right? Last time I created the service item where I need to enable the feature. When you go items, new, when you scroll services.
This is your service.
Yeah, sir. I think I have created, when you open, I can show you.
Okay. So what was the question? I'm sorry.
The service item, right? When you open the purchase, when you just click on purchase, can you open the purchase?
Okay. For
Service
purchase, right?
in the service purchase. Yeah,
Okay.
just open service and purchase. I have created one service, whatever service, but when we have to create one service, right? And when we want to, when we go for transactions, we have to fill the things, right? So this drop down, I couldn't find the one which I have created in the drop down.
Okay.
I did not
so
find.
One thing, Nalini, we have not come to the item structure yet.
Okay, sir. Okay, I think we will. When you come here, I will ask that question.
Yeah. So we have not come till the item structure yet, and we are not doing the transactions yet. So we were actually dealing with the only the enable features and the accounting preferences, and this stuff was done
Yeah.
yesterday.
Okay,
We
sir.
have not come to that part yet. I will let you know. I will create items for you and I'll show you how things work. Okay.
And one more question, sir. Sandbox. What is the sandbox?
Okay. One more question. Right. So any ERP or any product that you're dealing with, there is something called as a sandbox and there's something called as a production. Okay. So sandbox is nothing but your training instance, development instance, right? It's like a test environment. Whenever we call it as a sandbox, it is a test environment. So you can do any transactions in your test environment. You can do any sort of things, enabling features or enabling accounting preferences and all can be done as part of the transactions that you do over there. Okay.
Okay, so it's just a test.
Right, exactly. So this is nothing but your test environment only. You can have your production, right? A production act system is something that you would actually do as part of your go live. When the go live happens, that is when you will have the production instance. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, okay, sir.
That is, sandbox is nothing but a testing environment. There is nothing else, but it's just a testing environment that you would actually do. Okay. So what have we covered so far is the company, the entire company features, and the accounting preferences, right? All the preferences we have seen how exactly these things work. So today what we'll do is I'm going to let you know how the taxes actually work on NetSuite. Okay. So what are the taxes? You will have your uh, purchase taxes, sales taxes, right? VAT in the United States. Now, NetSuite is built in such a way that you don't have to do any additional setup as far as the tax concerned. Okay, the tax codes, tax schedule for the United States, everything will be automated. All you have to do is you have to create a nexus. I'll show you what exactly needs to be done. Okay, so all you got to do is just create the respective nexus. Okay, and the taxes would be generated automatically based on that. So first of all, let's go into the setup taxes part. Okay, right? So this is a little setup that you need to do for different countries. You've got Australia, Canada, India, United Kingdom, and United States. Okay, so initially wherever you install a bundle, okay, there is something called as a bundle. That's the first thing that you would actually do on NetSuite. So when you get the training instance for the first time, okay, you will not have everything listed down. The transactions, the payments tabs, the reports, everything will not be there. So what you need to do is you have to install a bundle on NetSuite. So this is your customization tab. All right. So when you go to customization, and then there's something called a suite bundler. Okay. So you have to click on search and install bundles. Okay. So when you do that, so do not worry where would you be getting the bundle information from. Okay, you will have the bundle installation guide. There's something called as bundle installation guide. Okay, which will be provided to you by your employer, whoever is. If you are working for Oracle will provide you the bundle installation guide. If you are working for PwC, that company is going to give you the bundle installation guide. So likewise, you would have to install these bundles one after the other. Okay, now what you see here is a suite success configuration finance module. Okay, material management is what is installed right now in this instance. So likewise, you will have the suite success bundles that you need to install. There are set of steps that you need to follow for this bundle installation guide. Okay, so this is the bundle ID. Now when you go to your search and install bundles, right, you go here and then you will search the bundle with this particular ID, and this ID will be provided to you. Okay, it's searching in the production. Maybe let's do one thing. Let us search it by the name and then we'll see. Okay, let us say I search with the keyword fixed asset. Okay, see, all these are your bundles that fixed assets management has got. So what you need to pick up from this is you have to go for a bundle which has maximum number of installs. You see this 117. Okay, So there is a custom administrator role with two-factor authentication for the fixed assets management. So this is the bundle that is usually installed if you want the fixed assets management bundle to be installed. So likewise, for see, usually when you install the basic bundle, everything else comes into the NetSuite automatically, like the purchase orders, you know, you have the sales orders, all those will be installed automatically, right? And you have to do there are certain additional bundles that you need to install. So I will let you know what those bundles are, okay? So one is fixed assets management, which is not a part of the uh, normal bundle that you install on NetSuite, right? And then there is electronic payments, right? This is also a bundle that you need to install. And there is something called as bank feeds, okay? So if you remember, I was talking about the NetSuite instance where the reconciliation, the bank reconciliation is done with the bank transactions and NetSuite transactions, right? So for this, you need to have, if you want this process to be automated, then you need to have a suite app, which is called as bank feeds. So these are the additional applications that you would have as part of the bundle installation. So where exactly can you see these bank feeds or suite apps? Okay, so if you go to customization again, right, and scroll down, you have installed suite app list, okay, and suite app marketplace as well. So you click on this marketplace, and here is where you would be able to find all the suite apps that go hand in hand with the NetSuite. So if you want to install bank feeds, then you search for bank feeds over here, and then you can install it from here directly. NetSuite Oracle bank feeds. Okay, this is the one that you have to install. So likewise, there are a lot of suite apps which would be there as part of the implementation. Now, usually you won't be using all the suite apps. Okay, there are very significant number of suite apps that you would be using. One is a bank feeds, the other one is a NetGain, right? There's something called as NetGain by shared transactions. So out of my experience, you know, I might have used probably like 10 or 15 suite apps, not more than that. And well, you may ask me how exactly would we know what is a suite app and what needs to be installed. So actually that will come with the experience only. I mean, you know, once you are doing the implementations, that is when you will understand what these things are. You know, what is a suite app, what additional suite apps need to be installed. All these things you can actually do that. Okay. Any questions on the suite apps? Okay. See, I'll tell you what is a suite app actually. Okay. There is a basic functionality on NetSuite, which is PO, sales orders, work orders, okay, and vendors, customers. These are the basic features that NetSuite offers, right? So if you want to do anything on top of this, okay, on these transactions that you have on vendors, if you want to do anything on top of this, then there are bank feeds app, there are other suite apps that I was talking about, NetSuite additional functionality. Okay, so just to let you know what exactly this is, whenever you install the bank feeds or any shared transaction by NetGain, any suite app that you have here, you've got a whole lot of suite apps that you can actually refer to. When I remove this, right, under advertising you've got 16, under ERP you have 109, under IT services you have 33 suite apps that you can actually install and check what is the exact functionality of that. Project cost to percentage, project classification, all these are suite apps which are additional, right? So these may not be as part of the normal implementations that you would do. You will not get to work with all of these suite apps, probably just about 5 or 6 suite apps that you would be working. So I'll let you know what those are. Okay, these three are very important. And then you have uh, something called as analytics warehouse. Okay, that's another one that you can work with. So there are very limited number of suite apps that you will be dealing with in your actual implementation. Okay, any question? So do you have any, you don't have any questions regarding this, right?
No, not from me.
Okay, so just remember guys, one thing is, first thing that you would do is bundle installation. Okay, so there are a whole lot of steps, like 50 to 60 steps, which are actually performed as part of the bundle installation. Okay, so all those steps will be provided to you as a bundle installation guide, right? The bundle installation guide would be available to you through your employer. Whoever is your employer, they would be able to provide you the bundle installation guide. You just have to follow the steps one after the other and install the bundle directly. So once the bundle is installed, then you would actually have access to the the features that you would see, the normal purchase orders, the sales orders, and all these things would actually be available for you as part of the bundle installation guide. So after that, you have to set up the system. So what is setup? Right, the setup is the first thing. You have to create the company information, you have to enable certain features based on the statement of work. You have to set up the auto generated numbers, whatever is the client series. Some of the clients might want the purchase orders as PO, and the other clients might start with PUR, and then the others might start with PUR, OR, something like that. All those information that they have. So you can rename records and transactions. Now, all these things are taken care as part of the personalization sessions. Okay, so you conduct the personalization sessions for each module. You will have different modules. So for each module, you can actually see what will be your the system setup, and then the accounting preferences that we have seen the other day. Whatever are the accounting preferences, everything is set up. So once all this is done, that is when the initial data migration phase starts, right? So if you remember, we were talking about the data migration. What is the data migration? Any master data that has to be created as part of the implementation is nothing but your data migration stuff. Okay, you can have your items. Your items can be your inventory items, right? Hold on, I think I have a present. I don't know what is up with the. Okay, so this is the initial data migration stage that we were talking about. You have to create your subsidiaries. You have to create the segmentation, which is classes, locations, and departments. You have to create your chart of accounts, right? You got to create your vendors, customers, items. So all these things come under the data migration stuff. And initially, when you were actually creating the initial setup for your walkthrough one, there's only walkthrough one and walkthrough two that we spoke about, right? So for the initial walkthrough, you will have 5 vendors, and then for the second walkthrough, you will have, for the initial vendor walkthrough, you have 5 customers, 5 vendors, and 5 items as a sample data migration. You will be able to do it, right? So this is what we are going to do next, right? So we already spoke about how the subsidiaries are created. So let us go into the subsidiaries. Let's go to company. If you go into the subsidiaries, then let us go into one of the subsidiaries and see what all fields are available there. Okay, so first is the name of the subsidiary that you can specify, and then the subsidiary, if you want the subsidiary to be inactive, or if you want that to be active. If this needs to be active, then this has to be unchecked. Okay, the logos, right? As I have mentioned, you can pull in the logo. I can go to the edit mode.
Sir,
Go ahead.
sir, I have a question. What is inactive and active? What
I'll
is
let you know.
subsidiaries?
No, what is, when you mark anything as inactive, let us say any transaction or any entity or any master data, if you mark it as inactive, that will not be available for transactions anymore.
So it means that subsidiary is no longer
Absolutely,
working.
it is no longer working. You're absolutely right.
Okay, sir.
Okay, that is what is your inactive. So this inactive stuff, the initial inactive and active would be available on most of the transactions. You can have it, you will have it on locations, you will have it on subsidiaries, you will have it on departments, classes, vendors, customers. And just in case, see, today you might want to have 100 vendors, right? But probably 1 month down the lane or 2 months down the lane, you may not want to transact with 10 vendors out of those 100. So you can mark, instead of deleting those vendors from the system completely, you just mark them as inactive.
So if you mark as inactive, does this still show up in the system?
It does. It shows up in the system, but you will not be able to do any transactions with that particular item. So I'll show you one thing. When you go to the relationships and vendors. Okay. So there is something called a show inactives. This is a complete list that I have opened right now. Okay. So your question is valid. So if you click on the show inactives, this will display everything which is active and inactive. All right. So there is a little checkbox that you see here. Okay. So as of now, there is no vendor which is inactive in the system right now. However, what I can do is, let me go into this APR limited. Okay. And when I go into this APR limited, there is an inactive active tab, which would be available for us, I think, in the financial tab. Okay. So you scroll down, it should be available somewhere. Hold on. System information. I think it should be. Maybe it's because of the form which is there. It is not showing up, but let's see. It should be there. We'll see. So you can mark that inactive and it will still show up. It's not that now when you select show all inactive also, then it will show up, or else it will not show up. Okay, there you go. It's on the main page only. So I can select this and save it. APR limited. I'm actually making this inactive right now, and I don't want to do any transactions with this particular vendor. I made it inactive. So go back to your vendor list, and if you refresh it, there is a show inactives option that you see here. Okay. So if you scroll down, you see this APR limited. This is inactive right now. And when you go to any transactions, let us say you want to go into the purchase orders and I want to select APR limited as a vendor. Okay. But that will not be available. See, APR is not available for me right now. I don't see it here. However, when I go here, I mark it as active and then submit. Okay, I marked it as active. So let's go back to the purchase order. So that is a transaction that we are doing on the vendor, right? So when you go there and now search for, you see this, it's available now.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So you understood what is the inactive and active option there, right?
Yes, sir.
Great. So likewise, you can make the subsidiaries inactive. Usually the subsidiaries are not made inactive, okay? Because it's a broader classification. It's the widest classification that you have in the accounting. So the subsidiaries are not made inactive. The locations are made inactive. Vendors are made inactive. Customers are made inactive. Items can be made inactive as well. So if you go to your items, okay, and open one of the items, there is a option wherein you can mark any of the item as inactive. So from there on, it won't show up again. Okay, that particular item that you're talking about would not show up again. See this in the system information, this is inactive. So if I mark this item as inactive, okay, the iPad Pro 9.7 inch 32B, right? If I mark it as inactive, right, that's done. So even if I search it here, okay, this is the one, and it won't show up. Actually, this is a minus 22. Okay, it will show up here, but it won't show up in the list. Okay, this is inactive right now. If you go to the system information, it is marked inactive. But when you go to the list, right, when you search in the list, this will not be there as of now. But when you show inactives, when you click on inactives, it will show up. Here is what it is. Okay. Any questions on that?
No, sir.
Okay, that's great. So that is what is your sub. So let's get back to the subsidiary topic that we were dealing with. Okay, so let's get back to the subsidiary. So this is the logo that you can pull from the file cabinet. You can select what is the country that this belongs to, what is the state, province. So this is a master data which comes as part of the bundle installation. I spoke about the bundle installation guide, right? So these countries and states and provinces under the countries, like what we have discussed, when you go to this company, and then state, you go to the company and then you have your state, provinces listed down here. You've got your countries listed down here. All these are created automatically when you're actually dealing with the bundle installation guide. When you do that, all these come automatically and they would be available for selection. So if I edit this, the country here is Australia. As of now, after you save the subsidiary, all these things will get grayed out. So I can create a new subsidiary. If I go to the new subsidiary, you will be able to see these options which are available. So you can select what is your country, you can select the states and province, which is which is a mandatory field for us here. So I can create this subsidiary. The parent, see, I told you the other thing, right? You can have this Australian subsidiary as a parent on my training test. I do not necessarily need to have parent as the parent company as the subsidiary. So let us have Australia as the subsidiary, and then we will see how the hierarchy is. Okay, these are the mandatory fields. First of all, let us save the subsidiary. And I spoke about this document number prefix, right? Whenever you are generating the, or whenever you are creating the auto generated numbers, you can specify what would be your document number prefix. So any document would start from TT hyphen, and then if you're creating a purchase order, let us say, right? If you provide TT here, TT hyphen purchase order 000192. So this is how the hierarchy would go for these numbers. So let me save this. We'll delete the subsidiary, by the way, after saving this. I just wanted you to show how the hierarchy looks when I save the subsidiary. Okay. Okay. So let's go back to the list right now. You see this? Training test is a child of Australia, and Australia is a child of parent company. This is how the hierarchy looks like when you create sub-children for your children. Okay, let's go back to the training test again. And I know you have your return email address, which can be specified what exactly would be the return email address. And then the language can be selected. What is your physical year? What is a standard physical year that needs to be selected on the subsidiary? And then the currency. What is the currency of that particular country that you are dealing with? For the edition is automatically selected. Whenever you check the country as United States, the edition comes automatically. And this is the EIN number. There's something called as employer identification number, wherein whoever is doing business in the United States would have the employer identification number listed down for them. Okay. And then this is the social security number, which can be added, right? So this vendor bill matching. What is a vendor bill matching? So this is an advanced concept. I will explain this to you while we are dealing with the purchase order concept. So just to give you a brief introduction of the three-way bill match. Okay. What is a three-way bill match is, in the purchase order process, you have the main purchase order that gets created. Once it is approved, you will have the item receipt that you need to done. That you need to do. Okay. But under this item receipt, you will receive the goods into your warehouse. Correct. And then after this is done, there is a vendor bill that you need to create a vendor bill and then make a payment against this vendor bill. Now, what is a three-way bill match? Three-way bill match is there are three transactions: purchase order, item receipt, vendor bill. So let us say the purchase order is created for 10 quantity. Okay. However, the item receipt is done for 12 because we have enabled a feature called as allow overage on item receipts. If you remember, I was talking about this in the accounting preferences. So since we have enabled the the feature of overages, you will be able to receive more than the quantity which is there on the purchase order. Then let us say the amount is only $100 here. Okay. But if you receive 12 quantity, then this is going to become $120. Agreed? Because you're receiving 2 quantity more than what is there on the purchase order. Correct? So there is a difference of $20 in the purchase receipt. The quantity is 12 here. There is a difference. And then there is a $20 difference from the purchase order amount and the vendor bill amount. Correct? Agreed? Any questions on there? Am I clear?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for the confirmation. So whenever there is a difference between the purchase order, item receipt, and vendor bill, then it has to trigger a approval to the manager, because we are the purchase order quantity is only 10, but we are receiving 12. So that is the reason when you receive more than what is there on the purchase order, and when you bill with the amount more than the purchase order, then it will trigger a three-way bill match approval to the purchase manager. Okay, so if everything is fine, you have not received additional, this is only 10 quantity in the item receipt, and this is just about $100, then it will not trigger any approvals. It will automatically go through the process normally. That is what is your three-way bill match. So you can set up the tolerances for your three-way bill match. So vendor bill purchase order quantity tolerance. What we are saying, if there is a difference between the purchase order tolerance, then it has to trigger. You can say 10% or you can say 20%. When I say 0.1 or 0.2, it is 10%. Okay, so you can say whenever there is a tolerance, and I say that if there is a 10% tolerance, then it has to trigger a three-way bill match. If the amount tolerance, what is the amount tolerance? Even this, if it is more than 10%, then it has to trigger. So vendor bill purchase order quantity, if it is more than one quantity, then it has to trigger a three-way bill match. Vendor bill item receipt quantity tolerance, right? Percentage again. Wherever it is tolerance, it is percentage, and wherever it is difference, it is the number that you can specify. So the business will tell you what are their tolerances. If they want to tolerate, just like 1%, then this is how it would be, 0.01. Any deviation with just about 1% also, then this is how you have to define your tolerances at the subsidiary level. So when you define it at the subsidiary level, then any transaction that you do with the subsidiary, if there is a difference in the purchase order, item receipt, and vendor bill, it triggers a approval automatically, three-way bill match approval. So likewise, you have the same thing that you can set up at the vendor level also. Okay, this is a big concept, guys. I'll explain this to you once again. But if you go into a vendor, there is a three-way bill match that you can set up the tolerances at the vendor level also. So you scroll down. Okay, if you scroll down, you will have under the financial tab, you have the vendor bill matching tolerances that you can set up. Likewise, you can set up the three-way bill match at the item level also. The same concept would be applied for items also. You go into the inventory item and you go into the purchase form, purchase inventory that you have here, purchasing inventory, click on that. So you can actually, it got logged out, but you can actually specify that at the vendor item in the subsidiary level also.